guys, how are you? If you're new to my channel, my name is Sarah. This is my YouTube channel, Stitching by Sarah. This is my channel about my little addiction called cross stitch. If you found me because you were doing a search for a WIP parade, I hope you enjoy my content and my stitching and decide to come back and watch my other videos or subscribe. If you just happen to find me just because, I hope you enjoy my content and decide to come back and watch other videos and subscribe. And to all my lovely ladies, and I know there's at least one gentleman out there that watches, my regular subscribers that keep coming back week after week, I really do appreciate you guys. So as I said, this is a mid-year WIP parade. Maybe I didn't say, I don't know. This is a mid-year WIP parade. I didn't realize how many I had until they're sitting here on the table. You know, you gotta stop starting things. You know, but I enjoy starting them. I enjoy stitching on all of them, so, or most of them. I think there's 2 in here that have been put aside because they're in timeout, and I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do with them. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start my WIP parade. Just a warning, there will be zippers and rattling. I'm going to try very hard to make sure I put my patterns and my fabric back in the bags that they came from, so I don't lose anything. First one is Autumn Quaker by Rosewood Manor. And normally I do, this is where I was last time you saw it, but there's so many of these, and some of them you haven't seen since last October on my very first Flosstube, where I did a WIP parade, so I'm not going to do that. That would be a lot of work. So you guys will just have to use your imagination. So anyways, Autumn Quakers by Rosewood Manor. Fabric is 28 count Jobelan, Queen's Anne's, oh, it just says Queen Anne's. And I'm using the called for Valdani floss pack, and that's where we're at now. The colors are very pretty. I have to use a bigger needle for the Valdani, so I have a little issue trying to get it in, but that is the Valdani floss pack. So that is very pretty. I really do like that. So that is Autumn Quaker. Next one, and these are in no specific order, just however I pull them off. Oops, sorry. This next one is called Silent Night by Stitching with the Housewives. And the fabric is a 25 count opalescent Lugana called Raven by BeStitchMe. And whoop. And so far I'm using most of the called for. I did supplement or change the really pale blue. I think it was called Rain Showers. I changed it to a DMC floss, but this is where it's at now. And this is what the rest of the fabric looks like. And I did not iron for you guys, I'm sorry. So that is Silent Night. All right, next is one of those charts that have been sitting in timeout. I need to get, I need to kit it up with DMC floss. This is Starry Night After Van Gogh Painting. That's what it's supposed to look like. And the floss is Russian. I didn't like it when I started it. I may try it again just to see, you know, if I still don't like it. But this is the colors. And I'm using the kit Aida. And this was my first and only attempt at gridding. And I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but that is my teeny tiny little start. So I may very well just get rid of the Aida, or, you know, get different Aida and kit it up with DMC. But it's in timeout because I wasn't enjoying it. But it's very pretty. But look at all the floss that goes with it. There's a lot of it. So we'll see. I ought to just pull it out and try stitching on it again just to see if, since it's been a while since I've done it, if I can tolerate it. So that's Starry Night after Van Gogh. The next is, oh, this is the other UFO. So this is, I started this probably in 2012, 13, somewhere in there. I was gonna make it for my daughter, but there was a lot of confetti and dull colors, so I got really bored with it. That's when I stitched the black horse you may or may not have seen. So this is called Arab Mother's Love by Yiotas X-stitch. I don't know if you can see right there the name. This was a PDF download. Oops. And this is as far as I got. You know, I got quite a ways on it. I ought to try stitching on it again. And I think the fabric is a 16 or 18 count Aida. It's one of those Charles Crafts. So that's where it's at right now. It's another one I ought to pick up just to see if I can tolerate it. Back when I started this, I only stitched on Aida and usually 14 count. But now I'm doing, I even have a 40 count now, so I can do different sizes. I think that was part of the reason too. It was a smaller, you know, smaller than I was used to. And if you see me watching, I'm watching my hummingbirds fight, so sorry. Next one, if you have been watching my video at all in the last, since May, you would remember this one. This one's Sabrina. I started this when I did Mirabilia this past May. And there is Sabrina. I am using the called for DMC. The fabric is a 32 count linen by BeStitchMe, and the name has worn off. I think it's Yuletide exclusive by BeStitchMe. Plastic has torn it off. So that is where Sabrina's at. And she's gonna have beads, and there's some Kryonic and there's some Karen water lilies in that. All right. All right, so next one, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm sure you've seen this one also. This is my biggest piece that I have. This is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers. I am so used to saying, and this is what it looks like last time. But anyways, the fabric is 32 count sand by Pictureless Plus. And I am doing this as a monochromic. I am using DMC 935. And that is where it is at now. Isn't that pretty? I love those colors, go together very well. And you can see it's gonna be a big girl. Or boy, whatever. It's large. Okay. So that is Death by Cross Stitch. Next is My Big Toe, the name of Jesus. And my fabric is a fabric that I dyed myself. It is Rit dyed. It's supposed to be a brown, but it looks kind of pinkish. And I'm so sorry I haven't ironed these. And as you can see, I didn't cut my fabric very straight. So that is where I'm at now. I have changed all the words to a purple. I believe it's called Purple Fizz. Grape Fizz. So that's the color I changed all the words to. They were supposed to be in brown in the pecan pie, but I wanted a little more pizzazz to it. So this is The Name of Jesus by My Big Toe. All right, hope you guys are all doing well as I'm folding things up and putting them away. We actually had rain here, which I don't think we've gotten any rain at all in the month of July, and maybe once or twice in June, so we were really dry. My next piece is Monthly Markings by Heart and Hand. And I am using Twilight Dyed Effects fabric flare. You can see it's dyed on or printed on one side and not the other. And I believe this is a 14 count. So that is where I am. I'd started using what's her name? Fat Quarter Shop. Kimberly Jolly. I started using her conversion pack, but as I'm stitching it, I'm realizing I'm not liking some of the colors that she had. So for January, she had the light blue. Actually, all of them, she has that light blue for the box, and I didn't like that, so I changed it. And I may or may not change the blue of her scarf, I'm not sure. So I'm making it up as I go along. If I like what Kimberly picked out, then I'm gonna follow it. If not, then I'm gonna change my own. And fabric flare, the nice thing about fabric flare is it's stamped along the side. Oh, this is 16 count Aida. So you can read what the fabric is and the size. So that's 16 count Twilight Dyed Effects by Fabric Flare. All right, so next one is another Stitching with the Housewives. This is Gingerbread Cookies. And this is on 14 count chalkboard Aida by Wichelt. And I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm stitching on it. And that is where it's at now. It is so cute. I gotta work on that more. Some people are doing Jolly July or Christmas in July, where they stitch Christmas items. Maybe, although July is almost over, maybe we'll do that. All right, my next is, this is Zelda by Mirabilia. This is the very first Mirabilia that I started working on, but not the very first one that I started, or that I bought. I am stitching her on the Called For Graceful Gray by Wichelt, and I am using the Called For Flosses, and that is where she's at now. I do have a mistake somewhere in her, right back in here. right in here. So I've got to figure out what my mistake is. If you're new to my channel, I tend to fudge things more than I frog them. So I may figure out what my mistake is and figure out how to get back on track, and then figure out what to do for the mistake. That's usually what I do when I fudge them. All right, so the next one is, oh, this is another Mirabilia. This is called Red. This was a Mirabilia start this year. The fabric is 28 count vintage smoky cashel linen. I am using the called for floss. All right, and this is where Red is now. It's very pretty. If you haven't figured it out, Mirabilia is one of my favorites. Those ladies are so very pretty. I love them all. All right, and this is the bead pack that goes with it. It's got quite a few beads. Next is this is the Old Married Couple by Joy Sunday cross stitch. I am doing it on a fabric flare white washboard, and I think this is a 14 count. And this is where the old married couple is right now. And after I got started, oops, I realized I really didn't have to stitch the background wall because I was stitching it on this, but I have it all started. I have not taken it out, so I'm just going to continue stitching the wall background like called for. I haven't stitched on that in a while. I ought to pull that out. You'll probably hear me say that a lot, actually. All right. I'm from the Houston area, so there's your Astros bag. Don't hate me, but I'm actually a Mets fan because I've been a Mets fan since like '83. I just don't happen to follow them as much as I used to. All right, next is another lady, but this one is a let me find, oh, it's right on top. This is a Joan Elliot design. This is called Christmas Spirit. I got her because she's in purple. And the fabric is a fabric that I dyed myself. Excuse me. I dyed my fabric myself. It's got teal and purple. And she's got Krynic. And I don't think she has any beads, but that's where Christmas Spirit is. All right. Okay, next pile. This is another Mirabilia. This is a stitch along with the Full Disclosure Stitcher on Instagram. This is called the Stargazer. I started this for March or Mirabilia. Fabric is 16 count witching hour. Yep, witching hour by Pole Stitches. And that is where she's at. So if you are new to my channel, I converted the bodice of her dress to purples because the browns were not showing up on this fabric very well. So that is where the Stargazer is so far. And this is a bag that Heather made me. It is so cute. If you're new to my channel, there's a theme, purple. Purple's my favorite. Even to the point where I have a purple car. All right, next is a chart that was handed down to me from an older, she's older than me, stitcher that I think was told to me she was getting rid of a lot of her cross stitch stuff because she was moving to someplace smaller and farther away, so she wanted to get rid of the stuff. So this is Tree Trunk Designs. This is Lighthouse Alphabet. This is a no longer in print chart, but I have seen it on eBay. And let's see, Tree Trunk Designs. So the fabric is, I don't know, a 14 or a 16 count Aida. She had started, oh, if I remember correctly, she had the LM and I think she had the LM and some of the O's started. And so I have done the P, Q, T, U, and X. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay. And that's all DMC. This chart is from 1996. Right. My next chart is, oh, this is in timeout also. This is a Paula Vaughn chart. I'm actually doing, what's the name of it? Let me see what the name is. Her Clothing. I'm doing that one right there. Me and the fabric and the floss were having an issue. I had started it once and didn't like the coverage. That's with 2 strands. This is with 1 strand. And I'm not liking the coverage on that one either. The fabric is Ren by Picture This Plus, and I'm using the called for DMC. So this is in timeout while I decide what I'm doing with them. Although looking at it now, it doesn't look, the coverage doesn't look too bad for 1. What do you guys think? That's 1 strand over 2. And Paula Vaughn, she has a lot of quarter stitches and half stitches, a lot of back stitching. So doing her charts are a lot easier on linen than Aida. But I have at least two other Paula Vaughns done with Aida, and I have one in my WIP pile here. Actually, maybe even 2 to be done that are on Aida. If you're new, I am not choosy about whether I stitch on Aida or linen. I just started stitching on linen maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Once I found Flosstube and saw there was more than just Aida and DMC, you know, I went down the little rabbit hole, and here I am now. My next chart, this was a Christmas present from one of my coworkers. It's called Winter Ride. It's a dimensions kit. It came with the Aida and the fabric, or the floss, and this is where I'm at now. And I believe it's a 14 count Aida. Yep, 14 count white Aida. Okay. Put that down there. All right, this one was a new start. I just started this past week. This is a Sue Hillis Designs. I am doing a portion of that one there. I am doing the thimble, the thread that's under it, the bobbin that's next to it, and then that yellow bobbin right there. My fabric is Love Potion, a 32 count opalescent Lugana by BeStitchMe. And that is my progress. You can see that shining right there. Isn't that pretty? I love BeStitchMe fabric. Look at that. Gorgeous. So that was my newest start. All right. My next one is Home is Where the Wreath Is by Stitching with the Housewives. Now this was actually a restart a couple weeks ago. I was doing it on chalkboard black Aida by Wichelt, and I wasn't liking it. So I ordered a yard of 14 count slate by BeStitchMe. And I have, let's see, that's the top. I have the H stitched that I'm gonna back stitch as we travel this coming next 2 weeks. And I started the M. These are gonna be travel pieces. So hopefully when I come back to you guys in 3 weeks, well actually from the time this video uploads, it'll be 2 weeks. I should have quite a bit of progress, I hope, or at least some progress. All right, the next one, I think this is another Mirabilia. This is a Mirabilia start this year at the Met. Let's see. The fabric is, this feels like a Wichelt. Stormy Gray, 28 count. And this one, I am off center by that much. But I gave myself 2 or 3 extra inches on the side for some reason. So I think I'll be okay. I'll just be on this side too far. But this is where at the Met is. And that's the fabric. So I don't have a big start on her. Colors are gorgeous. Look at how pretty those colors are. Right there. And she's got a lot of beads with her. Okay. Next one is, oops, sorry guys. This is hands-on design, Memorial Day. I am doing this on a 14 count white Aida, and I'm using the I am using, I believe, called for DMC. It actually calls for sulkies. Calls for sulkies, and I'm using the DMCs. So this is where I'm at now. Isn't that nice and bright? I love that color. So my next is, I don't remember this one. Oh yeah, this was a recent start. Let me see if I can find it in the book. Ah, here. This is from the summer issue 22, of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I am doing Faith, Hope, Love box by Teresa's Primitive Treasures. So that's what it's. I'm not gonna make it into a box, but that's what it's gonna look like. And I pulled my own colors because the colors that she had were kind of muted for me. The fabric is hand dyed by Rolanda. This is a 16 count opalescent. And that is my start so far. And next to BeStitchMe, Rolanda's fabric is my next favorite fabric. It's gorgeous. My colors, I have Blue Jay, I have Shamrock, I have Parlor, Poseidon, Golden Ale, and Rustic Black. So those are the colors that I chose. All right. Next is, this is my EGA project. I am a member of the Woodlands chapter of the EGA here in the Houston area. And we have a year-long project that you're to work on. And I chose Michael's Prayer by Silver Creek Samplers. I am using a 22 count unnamed BeStitchMe fabric, and that is where I'm at now. The white letters, I am going to backstitch so they pop out a little bit more. All right. If you see me trying to decide what pile, I have a pile of stuff that I want to work at, may possibly work on soon. And then there's the rest of my pile. This one is a Pennsylvania sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is called Mary Harry 1808. I got this as a kit through Evertote. She has a floss tube called Off the Grid Needle Arts. So the kit I got had the pattern, the bag, and the Leo and Roxy floss. Leo and Roxy is a Canadian dyer. So this is my first time using their floss, but that is the colors. And I am using, this is, I'm not sure if it's a 28 or 32. I bought this at a linen sale with our EGA. And this is my progress so far. I thought it's not really close to what's on the pattern or on the pattern page, but it's close. It's closest I had. All right. Next is, this is Cross Stitch Nation by Heartstrings Samplery. I am using a, I want to say 32 count cornflower. Let's see. Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm going to say 32 count cornflower. Oh, it's right there. 28 count cornflower. And this is my progress so far. This feels like a Wichelt. Trying to get that straight there for you so you can see my progress. I think I'm about half done. Pretty colored fabric. I really like that. All right. This is a biscornu. This is called Fall. I think the cover is with my EGA stuff because we're probably gonna do a biscornu next year. It's called Fabulous Fall. I will put a picture here of the cover of the pattern. It's a biscornu, and I am using the limited edition Gentle Art floss. The fabric is a fabric that I had gotten at a sale, the linen sale at the EGA, and that is my progress right there. Okay, that one is a present, so I'm not going to show you that. This is We Santa by Heart and Hand. I am using 32 count putty, and I'm using the called for. It's a combination of the called for DMC and Gentle Arts, and this is. Somebody just pulled in my driveway. Just a minute, please. All right, that was the mailman going balls to the wall on my driveway, which is not very long. Anyways, 32 count putty linen, and I'm using a variation of the called for between Weeks and, DMC and Gentle Arts. I don't have a lot left on him. I ought to finish him up. Okay. Next is another My Big Toe, Penn State. Favorite. If I were to have a favorite college team, that would be my favorite college team. This is My Stitching in Me by My Big Toe, and the fabric is, it's a Wichelt. I'm gonna see, Star Sapphire. So I am a little more than halfway done on that. And it says, take time to stitch the day away no matter what others have to say. Needle and thread, a comfort bee, my fabrics, scissors, hoops, and me. Chores and laundry, all will wait. My kitchen throne, I abdicate. Some comfy socks, a cup of tea. Today is about my stitching and me. And I may actually put, instead of a cup of tea, Pepsi, although I do drink tea, so either Pepsi or a cup of tea is going there. And I am using the called for Weeks Dye Works. A couple of them. I kitted this up in a store in, I don't know which town it was officially in, Binghamton, Endicott, Vestal area, New York. They're no longer there. I kitted this up with one of my cousins who is lives up that way. That was her store at the time. And now, as far as I know, there are no cross-stitch stores in Northeast Pennsylvania. So anybody up there wants to start a cross-stitch store so all our fellow stitchers can have a place up there to go for it. The next one is Little House Needleworks, Psalms 154. And there's another one that's not a very big start. This feels like a Lugana. I don't have a name on it. So this was probably bought at the linen sale for the EGA, and that is my start. Okay. And I don't recall if I'm using the called for or if I have made substitutions. All right. Let's go to this one. This is a recent new start. This is out of the Just Cross Stitch magazine for August of 22. This is Remember by Sarah Goodman-Strobel. I am using an unnamed fabric. Let me find something to put behind it. I am almost done. And I pulled out my own. I'm actually using a combination of BeStitchMe silks and Belle Soie. If I could stitch with silk all the time, I would be so excited. I just love stitching with silk. It's so soft. Anyways, I'm almost done. So my plan is this week to finish this. I just have to put the words Remember, and there's some flowers down in here that I have to finish, and then I'm all done. So my plan is to get this finished this week. And let's see if I can pull out all these silks. Let's see, oops, let go. So, as you can see, I'm not very organized with my floss. I just tend to throw them in the bag. So these are the Belle Soie that I'm using. Look at those colors, aren't they pretty? And then these are the BeStitchMe's. Let's see, I don't know, I don't remember if I'm using that one or not, but look at those colors, aren't they pretty? They're so soft. So that's the color palette that I'm using. Next is, this is a sew along that I'm doing with my localist needlework store. I am blessed to have, I have one that's 10 minutes away from me, and then down on the, between me and Houston, there are two other needlework cross-stitch stores. And then down in Houston, there are a bunch of needlepoint stores that sell the same floss that we use. So I could also go there to get floss and stuff, floss, not the fabric and the patterns. Anyways, so a sow with my local needlework. This is Jeanette Douglas's mini bouquet sampler. This is a free sew along that Jeanette Douglas is putting out on her website. You can go along, or you can go to her website, download all these. Each month she's putting out a new bouquet. So you can go to there and get that free pattern. I am using the called for fabric. This is my first time using 40 count fabric. I am using Dead Sea Scrolls by Fabrics by Stephanie. Seraphim Fabrics. Oh, my bifocals aren't working today. Anyways, that's the dyer. I know it's a well name, but anyways. So I have a little bit of a start. I have the first bouquet done, sorry. I have the border along the top and I started the first inner border. So I'm going to keep working on the border here until I get to the second bouquet, and then I'm going to start working on the second bouquet. And this fabric, isn't that pretty? This is nice fabric too. All right. And for this project, I'm using the called for over dyes. The EGA, we're going to be doing it as a sew along next year. And so I will use, if I have extra of the over dyed, I will use them. Or I will use the DMC. And I'm just going to make pillows on the ones that I like. I'm not going to stitch the whole thing again. The next pattern is Cross Stitch Addiction by Pine Glen Designs. It says, I only came to work because I have a cross stitch addiction to support. My fabric is Dusk, a 28 count opulent by BeStitchMe. And as you can see, I've used it for something else, but that is my there you go. Now you can read it. That is my start on that. I really should work on this because there's not a lot to that. So I should try to get that one done. Nice thing about doing WIP parades is you get to see what you've been working on that you forgot all about. Why, that's in there. The floss I'm using is BeStitchMe Silk. This is Winter Blues. Isn't that pretty? No, that's a brown. That's 9.3. That's 9.3, 9.38. I'm not sure why the silk's in there. Anyways, maybe I was planning on using that as the little cross stitch, stitching around. That may be what I was doing, that stitching around there. All right. My Minions bag that I made myself that's falling apart. I need to resew. All right, we're getting there. We have 4 more. All right, this is Teresa Kogut's Land That I Love sampler. I am doing this on 32 count in the pink R&R Reproductions. And I'm using the called for floss, except I added B5200, and I think I'm stitching 1 strand over 2, except for the white. Although I have Floss now, so maybe I can try the Floss on here, see what it does. So that's my start. Okay. Let's see what we can do. Okay, the next is a Paula Vaughn. I think this is my oldest WIP. This is Love Songs. Actually, I know this is my oldest WIP because my cousin Betsy, this is her oldest WIP also. This is Love Songs by Paula Vaughn. This is on a 14 count, like, I guess it's, I don't know if they called it oatmeal or natural Aida back in the day. This is one of those Charles Craft, you know, like Ben Franklin or, you know, whoever. I think it was a Ben Franklin. So this is where I'm at now. So I'm a little more than halfway. So I started working on flowers over here. And I'm not sure if this is 14 or 16. This might be 14. But it's going to be really pretty when I actually finally get it done. But I do pick it up every now and then. Maybe I'll do some stitching on that today. All right, and then look at all the DMCs. There's a lot. As I told you, I'm not very good with my organization with my floss other than throwing it in a bag or in the bag. All right. This last one was not started by me, but it was handed over to me. I have not stitched on it. This is Happy Camper by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet. The Aida is, looks like 14 count. The person who started it was using the hoop, which I will take the hoop out because I don't use the hoop. And that's the little start that's on there. So, and there's Aida, or DMCs. So that might be pretty easy to do. All right, so I think that's it. That's all of my WIPs that I have as of July 15th of 2022. I hope you all are doing well. My regular subscribers, this is a video in place of a regular update video because I'm going to be on vacation. And as I said, if you're new, I hope you like my content, you like my stitching, you decide to come back and see me for other videos. So I will let you all go. Looks like it's been almost an hour, which is way longer than my usual videos. My usual videos are like 13 to 25 minutes. So this is really long for me. Next, I'm gonna do a WIP, nope, not a WIP parade, a kitted parade. And that will be on the last Friday of July. And then the following Friday, I will be back. So I hope you all have a good time before, between now and when I see y'all again. And I'll talk to you then. Bye, guys.